Bad Business is brought to you by Syndicate Public Relations. If you're an entrepreneur, small business owner, or even a big business owner looking for a boost in sales and exposure, we can help. We provide marketing and public relations consulting and strategy set up for you to easily execute. We call it storytelling with strategy. With a combined 35 years of experience in the business and as entrepreneurs ourselves, we know how to break through the noise so your voice is heard. Info at syndicatepr.com.
Check, check, check. Okay. High above Phoenix from the Double Wide Network Tower, this is Bad Business with Bryan Laurel and Melissa Epstein. It's a smart and snarky look at the business world from a marketing and public relations angle. Bad Business covers not just the bad meaning bad, but the bad meaning good. I think that was a Run DMC lyric. Anyway, let's get to it.
Welcome. This is Bad Business with Bryan Laurel.
And Melissa Epstein.
And we are happy to be here. And we have some great topics for today, some of which have to do with just PR agencies in general, maybe what to expect when you hire such an agency.
Such as us.
Such as us, Syndicate PR. We can be found at syndicatepr.com. If you have any questions for us, you can also email us at info@syndicatepr.com. So, what's new?
I've been with you all day.
I know, but I'm sensing a sudden drop in enthusiasm.
No drop in enthusiasm.
Okay.
Just the end of the day, having barbecue for dinner.
Okay. You're just thinking about dinner?
Yeah, thinking about my PJs and my slippers.
Okay. Well, can you put that on pause for a moment and let's deal with the task at hand? We are happy you are here. We are we're going to dig into a couple of things here in a minute. Our guest this week is going to be Jeff Noble, who is a photographer extraordinaire. I've known Jeff for about 15, 16 years, and we've done a lot of work with him. How would you describe Jeff? He's like 17 feet tall.
I'm very small because I'm only 5 feet tall. He's at least like a foot and a half taller than me, don't you think?
Yeah.
At
least.
Like he could pick me up by my pinky and throw me across the room. He's a big guy.
He's a big guy, and he loves his Nike shoes.
But like a teddy bear.
No, he's the nicest guy in the world, and we'll have him on in our third segment. We'll talk to him. I mean, he's been photographers are kind of like lone wolves. They kind of exist on their own.
They are their own breed.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
And you'll get what we're talking about. But Jeff is awesome. I invite any of you out there to check him out, and we'll give you his contact information a little bit later.
You could see his work in our headshots if you go to our website.
Oh, yes. This is true. This is true. He was very kind as we were starting off. He got our headshots. He took us to an alley in downtown Phoenix, and we had to.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was. It was actually kind of cool. We actually had our first business inquiry. We had some businessmen were walking through an alley for some reason, and said that they were going to reach out to us. So yes. Anyway, okay. So we talked a couple weeks ago about like end of year lists that you love so dearly.
I love them.
And for our first segment this morning, we're going to talk, or this morning, whenever you're listening to this, we're going to talk about some of the best apps, the best gadgets, and best books of 2014.
Interesting.
And some of this was compiled from Business Insider, some of it from Inc. magazine. And I threw out on Twitter and Facebook this week, just asking some people that knew me if they had some suggestions as well and things that they really like. So I got a good response to that. So
I like to pretend that I'm super app savvy, but I think on a daily basis, I'm only using like 2 apps.
I think you have 3 apps on your phone altogether. And
no,
one
I
is
have
like
a
weather.
Lot. I have a lot. I check the weather a lot. I obviously check Facebook a lot. I check Instagram.
Right. What else do you use?
I don't really use any of my other apps.
Why do you have a smartphone? To check Facebook, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And the internet. I don't know what, because I cannot use a non-smartphone.
Okay. Well, maybe some of these apps you will you'll dig, and then maybe you'll download some of these.
Yeah.
So we're going to just go through this list kind of fast because we don't need to dwell on them. But if you want to check any of them out. We'll put links to all of these on our blog starting tomorrow morning, Friday morning. So the first app is, of course, Uber. That was one of the big responses I got.
I use Uber. I like
Okay,
Uber.
well, then you just lied to everybody a little bit ago.
I forgot, but I like it.
Okay.
I use it a lot.
Do you?
I've used it like twice.
Okay. Do you want to tell everybody what one of those 2 times was?
No, okay, so 3 times.
Okay.
Once I used it to get free ice cream delivered when they did that.
Wait, free ice cream?
Well, I had a credit. We didn't pay anything for it.
We didn't? Okay.
No.
But they were charging...
They were charging like $5 of ice cream bar, something outrageous. Yeah. But when you sign up for Uber, I think you get a credit. So I've used it 3 times in this city. I've used it in other cities too. But in Phoenix, I've used it a few times, and I've never had to pay anything because this credit just doesn't go away.
Yeah, they need to rethink all those free credits they put out there. I was at a restaurant. There was a stack of cards that each had like $20 on them or whatever. But anyway, Uber, for those of you that are not in the know, is sort of like a taxi service. It's a car service, and it's pretty slick.
It's very cool.
You bring it up. It shows you what cars are in the area. Now, what you're doing is you're hiring people that are folks like you and me that have a car that want to spend some of their time making some money, but they do have a screening process
for the driver and for the passenger. There's a screening process.
Yes,
you can rate each other, and I think you can pay a little bit extra and get like a bigger car. We took it to the airport once, so we took a bigger car. We took it to a restaurant next to our apartment. It was a little too far to walk.
And a Pinto showed up?
I think we were like in a Yaris or something.
Okay. All right. So Uber is definitely one to check out. And we're gonna touch on each one of these things, but we're going to kind of leave it on you that are listening to decide which ones turn you on and you want to check into more. Trello. Have you ever used Trello? Do you even know what Trello is?
I have no idea.
Trello is an easy way to organize projects on your phone or on your laptop, your tablet, and update team members in real time. So Trello is basically, it's almost like a series of index cards, but you can put photos on there, you can put checklists on there, assignments, and as people are completing these, their segments of the project, it updates it. So it's supposed to replace email in a sense. So you don't have like this, you don't have 400 emails
but
going.
But it's still something you have to check, right?
Right, but
things like that
one
actually
app.
Kind of overwhelm me.
Okay, all right. Well,
but that's a whole other subject.
Yes, then do not download Trello. But it's really easy to use. It kind of looks like Pinterest, basically, for projects. It's
Pinterest
really easy.
Overwhelms me too.
Another one that's another organizational app is Wunderlist. And Wunderlist is you can share a list among multiple users, also for projects, but also maybe between family members. Like maybe there's shopping lists or books on your to read list, or movies on your to rent list. Or vacation plans or chores for the kids. So it basically links between approved users on their phones, and then you can again check off what you've accomplished, and it's updated in real time. There's another one called TripIt, and what TripIt does is Melissa travels quite a bit. So you go out of town, you have your airline reservations, your car reservations, your hotel reservations, maybe some restaurant reservations.
Dinner reservations.
Yeah, or
play tickets.
Right, for any sort of events, or if you're going to a conference, your conference. So what you do is on TripIt, you email all of those confirmations to one like a kind of a vanity email address through TripIt, and then it populates an app for you. So
that's smart.
So everything is in one thing. So
I would use that.
I would too. And when you pull up to the airport, you're not digging through your inbox and trying to figure out, okay, wait, when did I make the reservation for the car, and trying to find that. So it's really easy. So TripIt is another one. Another one's called Toggle, Toggl.
I've used Toggle.
Have you?
Yeah.
Do you want to explain what Toggle is?
No, you go ahead.
So Toggle is timekeeping made simple. So basically you're entering tasks, and maybe it's probably most, it's good for bookkeeping when you're working with clients, that you basically enter in clients that you're working on or what you are working on, and then it's really a simple, almost like a stopwatch. You hit start, and when you're done, you hit stop. Now, some people may think that's really simplistic, but when you are billing somebody by the month and you go through and you want to see, okay, how many hours did I spend? It basically calculates all that for you, and then you can enter in dollar values and figure out as far as if you want to charge. Or if you are charging somebody, you can add tax and everything. So it's just kind of a really simple way to keep timesheets. So those were some of the apps that we received, and then gadgets. I'll go through these really quick. The Lumo Lift, and some of these are actually be good Christmas gifts, by the way. The Lumo Lift, it's another gizmo
or Hanukkah.
or Hanukkah. It's a gadget that it's a fitness tracker, but this one also helps you with your posture.
Oh, I need that.
Yeah, it's really good for people with desk jobs. It's $99, so that's Lumo Lift. Another thing, or a kit, it's called the Smart Things Starter Kit, and it's one of those kits that you use to automate your home and sync it with your phone. So your thermostat, your lights, even your locks on your doors. You can either pre-program, or when you're driving home, you could turn on your thermostat, turn on the heater. You can make sure that the lights are on, so when you come in the house.
Do you have to buy like a special thermostat that matches up with that?
You would need a Wi-Fi connectable thermostat.
So I couldn't use that because we rent, so there's already like a
why would you even bother with that? But when you buy your house, then you would be all over this, I'm sure.
Oh, I would, yeah.
So the Microsoft Band, it's another fitness tracker. I am an Apple guy. I love all things Apple. I'm not a big fan of the Windows phones, but I did go into the Microsoft store and I checked out this little band, and it's pretty cool, and it tracks everything. I mean, has a GPS. It can actually tell you how much ultraviolet exposure you had for the day.
Creepy.
Yeah. Well, it's better than getting sunburn, Melissa, and skin cancer.
Wear sunscreen.
There's that as well.
Yeah.
The Microsoft Band is $199. Sunscreen is about $4, so you decide.
Yeah.
The August Smart Lock. This is a device you attach to your deadbolt at home, and it's $249. Again, you're controlling it with your phone, and you can unlock your door with your phone, or if you had friends coming over, say you had friends that were coming over from out of town, you were still at the office, you could give them a temporary key, so with their phone, they could get into the house. Or if you had a dog walker coming over, or somebody that was going to drop off a package.
The Chinese food delivery guy.
The Chinese food delivery guy, yes. The pizza delivery. Why would you let them in your house when you're not there?
So that when I get home, my
you're expecting them to put out
is laid out beautifully on our kitchen table.
You think they're going to put out a whole beautiful spread? They're going to dump it on your counter, and
you obviously are not ordering Chinese from the same place I am.
I guess not. And then the tile is another item that you can attach. It's a little like a wafer thin little square piece, maybe 1 inch by 1 inch, that you attach to items, and you can find them with your smartphone. So like your keys or the remote control or things that you might ordinarily lose. It kind of acts as like almost like a
I don't lose those things because I put them back where they belong.
Okay, well, a lot of people have problems with things like that, and you can attach these to things that you want to be able to track. Then the last thing in the gadgets is the Pebble Steel smartwatch, which is $199. And for business people out there, it's really good. And this is kind of a good stopgap until the Apple Watch comes out. And we don't know how great the Apple Watch is going to be. It looks great, but the reviews aren't in yet. But the Pebble Steel smartwatch, I've actually seen that up close. You can check your emails from your watch when you get a call. Your phone's in your pocket or your purse. You can look at your wrist and you can see basically where who's calling. So that's for a pretty small amount of money. You can get a pretty fashionable smartwatch that I think would be helpful.
Didn't Inspector Gadget have that? And he opened it and all his tools came out.
I think Dick Tracy had that.
It always
Inspector
was like,
Gadget.
whoa, I'm crazy, zany, Inspector Gadget. My watch is out of control.
Yeah, James Bond probably had one. Yeah, it's been imagined for a long time, but
now it's reality.
The future is here.
Ooh.
So then let's go into books. So we'll wrap this up with books. And books, all of these are like business related books, and that have been really high on the bestseller list for 2014 and would be worth either buying for yourself, or if you know somebody that is in the entrepreneurial mindset, these would be good books for them. This first one's called 0 to 1, Notes on Startups or How to Build the Future by Peter Thiel. And all these, by the way, are available on Amazon, at Barnes & Noble, and the like. But Peter Thiel was one of the co-founders of PayPal. And so I
use PayPal all the time.
PayPal I've avoided for the longest time, and I've recently embraced it. So, but this is basically kind of a fluff-free business account of our philosophy. He's taught at Stanford University, and it kind of gives some of his philosophy on starting a business. The hard thing about hard things, building a business when there are no easy answers, by Ben Horowitz. This is Ben Horowitz is a top Silicon Valley venture capitalist, And this is kind of his take on that there are no easy answers or recipes for small business, but some of his accounts and what he's found to work and what would really be helpful to startups. So that's another one. Creativity Inc., Overcoming the Unseen Forces That Stand in the Way of True Inspiration. That's a mouthful, by Ed Catmull. And this is basically a book that relates the success of Pixar with business and how you can kind of extrapolate some of their philosophies and their mindsets at Pixar. And
obviously, they're doing something right.
They are doing something right. I mean, they've made $8 billion over the course of 14 films. So they
know how to tug at the heartstrings.
Boy, do they ever. Did you see Up?
Oh,
the first 5 minutes, people were crying in the theater.
The convention we used to go to.
Oh, that's right. Well, that's where we saw it.
Yeah.
And then we're looking at Smart Cuts: How Hackers, Innovators, and Icons Accelerate Success by Shane Snow. This is again another book that uses some kind of real life examples of how networking and kind of laying a good foundation for your career can help you. And one of the examples he uses is Jimmy Fallon, how he started out, how he was doing stand up, how he's doing improv, he was on SNL, and how he grew to where he's at on the Tonight Show.
Jimmy Fallon makes good TV, but he makes better internet.
He does. He really does. And then the final one is this book is actually a couple years old, but my friend Kelly reminded me about this book, and it's Tony Hsieh. It's called Delivering Happiness, A Path to Profits, Passion, and Purpose. That's a lot of P's, but he is the founder of Zappos, and Melissa and I actually went up and toured their offices up there.
We heard him speak.
Very interesting. We heard him speak.
Phoenix, and then we went to Vegas and toured the offices.
So this is basically talking about some of their philosophies inside their business and how some of his. Did you know that they offer, when they hire somebody, they offer them right off the bat, they offer them $2,000 to quit.
To quit the job at Zappos.
To quit the job at Zappos. And the reason is because they only want people there that want to be there. And if they could be bought off that easily, they feel that they're better off. So anyway, so that was kind of rifled through these really.
No Lean In is not on your list?
No. Did I say Lean In?
I feel like that had to be one of the biggest business books this year.
No, not in the article that was on the Business Insider.
Interesting.
So, but thanks for your little push there.
I didn't read it.
So, well, then you shouldn't be pushing it. So we're going to duck out for just a second. But when we come back, we're going to talk to Melissa about what to expect when you bring on a PR firm.
You're listening to the Double Wide Network, where you can host your own radio show. If you're looking for a way to get out your message, welcome to the future. Dave Pratt's Double Wide Network offers you the opportunity to use our state-of-the-art studio to create your very own radio show. Our experienced and helpful production staff will help you every step of the way. Our free mobile app allows your listeners to take your show with them and play it live or on demand. Even if you're not in Arizona, we've got you covered with Skype technology, so you can broadcast from anywhere in the world. Whether you're in it to grow your business, make a statement, deliver a message, or just have fun hosting your own show, the Double Wide Network can make it happen. The Double Wide Network always has your show ready to go. For more information, just visit us at doublewidenetwork.com.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
As long as I live.
Several of us were working to rescue a family.
The house collapsed on top of the cellar door and trapped them.
We had to use Humvees and heavy machinery to move massive trees and debris.
We got them out.
We helped a lot of people out.
It felt good to know I could really make a difference.
Because I'm a citizen soldier in the National Guard.
Be there the moment your community needs you. Learn more at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Arizona National Guard. Aired by the Arizona Broadcasters Association and this station.
Help! I need somebody. Help! Not just anybody. Help! You know I need someone. Help!
Here's a staggering statistic. You ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
Public relations professionals outnumber journalists 4-1.
I believe that.
That makes our job, our already difficult job, just a little bit more difficult because we got to break through all the noise of the other PR pros. But we know how to do it. We know how to break through that noise. We know what tactics to use best, and that's why people hire PR firms.
Right.
But there are a lot of businesses out there who may not realize they should hire a PR firm, or businesses out there that think they should, and maybe they should be going in a different direction. So we're just going to provide some tips on what to look for when you are going to hire a PR firm, and what you need to have in place as the client and what your PR firm should have in place.
Sounds good.
One of the first things that you should think about, if you are a small business, what kind of PR firm do you want to hire? There's a lot of independent freelancers out there, and they're all very good, and that might be the best way for you to go. Bring somebody in, get them embedded into your culture. You pay them a retainer, you pay them hourly, whatever you come up with, and they're working for you most of their time. You can hire a boutique firm, which is the category we would fall into, a smaller sized firm with multiple clients that can, is more agile, more versatile, can adapt to different types of businesses, and can work within your budget if your budget is a little bit smaller or a little bit larger. We like those too. Or do you want to work with a large agency, which has its benefits because you're going to get everything under one roof, PR, all the different types of integrated marketing. You're going to get everything under one roof, and you are going to be paying for a lot of overhead there, though. You're going to be paying for a big fancy office and big fancy conference tables and maybe a pool table, and all of that is good, and it creates good teams. But, you need to determine what type of agency works best for you. What's your budget? What are your goals? As the client, you need to have all of these things at the ready when you go and you meet with a PR firm. And you need to think about how valuable is your time. I know we've mentioned a couple of times on this podcast that money and time have the same value. They really do.
Of course.
So if you are starting a business or you're running a small business, do you really have the time to be putting in the efforts on contacting media and writing press releases and writing a newsletter and sending out e-blasts? Or is your
fielding calls,
or is your time and your money better spent bringing somebody on to do that?
And then you have to decide, if you are a smaller company, do you want that under your own roof, or do you want to hire somebody else? And you would hire somebody like the likes of us for cost reasons, but also we do not expect you to pay for health insurance. We do not expect a 401k.
In an ideal world, you would have at least one person internally that was dedicated to managing your PR team. Because if it's just you at the top, you're not going to have time for that, and everybody's going to suffer. So you also need to know, do you value marketing and PR? Because some people just think it's glitz and glamour, and that, I want glitz and glamour. But do you value really what it is and what it takes to go into it? You and I know that you're not going to get an article on A1 of your major city newspaper a week after you sign a client. It takes a lot of cultivating, it takes a lot of strategizing, a lot of pitching, and a lot of organizing before those things start to come to light. So if you're going to make the investment in your PR firm, know that, at the front end of your time with them, they're going to be organizing and
There's
research.
a ramp-up period.
There is a ramp-up period. Some of the things that your PR firm might do for you, and this is by no means a complete list, but writing and distributing press releases, conducting media interviews on your behalf or scheduling media interviews, writing advertorials or editorial pieces when necessary, writing guest columns, placing articles or TV spots. Some of these things are pay for play now, and that would fall under a public relations firm. Creating seminars, workshops, speaking engagements, press conferences, doing market research, crisis management, social media management and engagement. These are all things that would fall under a PR person's list of tasks. So should you hire an agency? Again, look at what kind of time you have to dedicate to this, and does your product really need it, and does it make sense for you? Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Sometimes a simple direct mail piece makes sense, and that's exactly what you need. Not every business needs a PR firm. And I think we're pretty upfront with the people that we meet with, in the beginning. If it doesn't seem to us that they need our services, we're not going to just take their business to take their business. We'll usually tell them, here's a better direction for you to go in, and when you're ready, come back to us.
Right.
do you have the time to distribute the press releases? And if you are not a PR professional and you don't already have those media contacts, think about all the time it's going to take you to build those relationships. A PR professional is already going to have those relationships solidified. If you don't have the contacts, hire somebody. It's easy. Are you a good writer? Everyone, I think, thinks that they're a good writer, but there is a certain way to write for journalists, and they like it to be written the way they write, which is usually an AP style, which is, something we went to school to learn how to do. And if you don't know how to do that or you're not familiar with it, sure, you can pick up a couple books and you can look on the internet and you can figure it out. But why not just pay somebody who already knows how to do it and let them handle all that for you while you're running your brick and mortar store?
And to tweak the story so it is appealing to who you were pitching it to. Folks that we've run into in the past that have hired us because they were kind of just beside themselves that they couldn't get the media to pick up anything about a grand opening or whatever. You got to think what's in it for the media entity, what's in it for the viewer ultimately or the listener. And if you are really not seeing outside of your own doors and that you're like, oh, we're having a grand opening, well, oh, that's great, but what's in it for somebody else? You have to make it, and that's what Melissa and I do. We try to put a spin on it to make it more appealing to the media.
A press release should not be a sales tool.
No.
A sales tool is your direct mail or it's a paid advertisement, but it's not a press release. You got to think editorially and hire what you can afford. If you can't afford a $10,000 a month retainer, then don't go after the big agencies. If you can only afford, $2,000 a month for 6 months, then, hire a freelancer or hire a boutique firm, and they're going to be a little bit more targeted, and you're not going to be paying for all of the overhead, and you're probably going to get your more senior people working on your account too, because, like you and I, we run our business, and we've both been doing this a very long time, where if somebody went with a bigger agency, the people working on that account are probably going to be, more junior level.
In some cases, and I'm not going to make a blanket statement, but a lot of times when you are being pitched by some of the larger agencies, you got their big guns in the room, the people that know what they're doing. But then, depending on the size of your account, you may find that you have junior people or some of the more newbie folks that are working on your account. So that's something you would want to at least ask at the onset.
I think something else that's really important is when you're interviewing firms or firms are interviewing you or you're meeting with people to not just base it on price, but who you have the best chemistry with. Because ideally, you are going to be working with these people very closely every week for the duration of your contract. And it makes sense if everybody gets along, but more than that, if there's a rapport there and a good friendship on top of the business relationship. Because if there's not, that's where you're going to run into trouble.
Absolutely.
It's like hiring another person to work on your team. You wouldn't bring anybody else into your shop that didn't make sense for your culture.
So if people have some sort of prejudice against people that are 5 feet tall, they probably shouldn't hire us.
The other thing
because Melissa's 5 feet tall, I'm 6'2".
Right. You're 6'2"? Yep. You're really that tall?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
See,
we must look weird walking down the street. When you're meeting with a firm, it's a fine line when you're meeting with a firm or when we're presenting to a client, because we want to give all these great ideas, but we get paid for our ideas. So we can't give too many of them on the forefront, because otherwise, they could be great and take them to somebody else and execute them. But if you're interviewing a good firm, they should be giving you some ideas, and make sure that there's at least one idea that you are excited about. If there's one that you're if you're lukewarm about everything, that's not a good way to go. But there should be one that you're that's the idea. That's the one we want to go with and that we want to have them execute.
Or at least that's in the vein of what we're looking for.
Because that means that they get you, and that's key. Another key thing is to know what you're signing up for when you sign on the dotted line. And that goes for everybody involved. But, it probably makes sense to sign for a longer period of time. Like we were saying, that ramp up period, that takes time. If you're hiring a firm, they may not be as well versed in bicycle repairs as you are, because you own the bicycle repair shop. Give them time to learn about it. Welcome them into your shop. as frequently as they need to be there. Let them talk to some of your better customers. Let them talk to your team. Let them do the research. Let them find out who the best media contacts are. And, you'll have success all the way. And if there's something that you don't like along the way, something you don't like that they're doing, push back a little bit. You're the client, you're paying for it, and say, I really think that we want to go in this direction, or I think that this story should tell this. And they may push back too. I mean, we are not yes people, but we're not no people either. Everybody's going to fight for what they believe in, and absolutely the client should do that too. So, just to recap, make sure that you're finding people that you have good chemistry with, that fit within your budget, that you know what your goals are, and that you know what you're getting, and that you get results.
And with all of that, it's really is a relationship of sorts. And when you're spending what is a lot of money to you, whether it's a big budget or a small budget in the scheme of things, any money you're spending is a lot of money. And so we, as Syndicate PR, we want to make sure that you are happy, that you're getting what you want. And so we are very big at the onset to be completely upfront in what the scope of work is, what the deliverables are, because we're not, even though it may be a 6-month contract, we want to be your buddy for a long time. And we've had people we've done work with and for a short period of time, and we've stayed in touch with, and then 2 or 3 years later, they came back to us and wanted to work again. So if you are, no matter which side of the fence you're on, whether you're the client or you're the agency, or you need to keep that in mind. You got to keep the long game in mind.
And it's not all glitz and glamour. Parts of it are, but not all of it is. So, the best thing to do is to let everybody do the job that they do. And even when we were on the corporate side, there was a sense of, well, you guys are just the marketing department. Anybody can do that. Anybody can come up with an idea and execute it. But I think I don't think that's true. And that's why we do what we do.
That's right. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to have Jeff Noble, the photographer of photographers here in the Valley of the Sun. We'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to the Double Wide Network, where you can host your own radio show. If you're looking for a way to get out your message, welcome to the future. Dave Pratt's Double Wide Network offers you the opportunity to use our state-of-the-art studio to create your very own radio show. Our experienced and helpful production staff will help you every step of the way. Our free mobile app allows your listeners to take your show with them and play it live or on demand. Even if you're not in Arizona, we've got you covered with Skype technology, so you can broadcast from anywhere in the world. Whether you're in it to grow your business, make a statement, deliver a message, or just have fun hosting your own show, the Double Wide Network can make it happen. The Double Wide Network always has your show ready to go. For more information, just visit us at doublewidenetwork.com.
Move over, AZ. Arizona's Move Over law requires you to move over or slow down when you drive past any vehicle pulled over with flashing lights. Remember, every vehicle, every time. Move over, AZ.
Sponsored by ADA in partnership with the Arizona Broadcasters Association and this station.
Welcome back to Bad Business. We are here with Jeff Noble. He is
a noble man.
He is a noble man.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I did see what you did there. Jeff,
what is wrong with you guys?
Jeff, we before you came in, we were telling everybody you're about 17 feet tall, and you have like a size 22 shoe. Which are, by the way, are you wearing Nikes? I didn't see your footwear.
These are Nikes.
They're like splatter paint.
Oh, those are. I dig those. Yeah.
I'm actually 5'19".
5 foot. Jeff has a lot of Nikes. I don't know if I've ever seen you wear the same pair of Nikes twice.
If you spread out your shoes long enough, the smell factor never really kicks in.
Okay.
So they never really stink.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Do you have to keep them in the garage so your wife doesn't...
They're up on a shelf very high.
Okay.
Stink rises like heat.
That's true. So
So
it just goes up into the attic. Well, Jeff is, we've known Jeff for, a long time. It's been I think 16, 17 years since we originally met. We've done a lot of work with him. As Melissa pointed out in our first segment, Jeff did our headshots for Syndicate PR, being the phenomenal photographer that he is. But we wanted to talk to you, Jeff, about just your business. We want to talk about the photography business a little bit, but you specifically. And so those that are listening out there, whether they're photographers or not, they can glean a little bit of insight as far as what it's like to be a lone wolf like you. That you're
the lone wolf behind the lens.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
I'm an army of one.
Well, what got you into photography in the first place?
Photography is a magical process. And what got me interested in the beginning was the mechanics of making prints in the darkroom, believe it or not, and seeing them appear magically in front of you. Mm-hmm. Making something from a blank sheet of paper, it's really cool.
When did you start? When did you start picking up a camera or going into the darkroom?
At the end of my high school career, if you call high school a career. But that's when I really developed an interest late into high school and then carried it into college. And it's the funnest thing on the planet to do. So as technology has changed, was it disappointing to you to have to, when that point came where you had to buy your first digital camera, was that an exciting moment or a sad moment for you as a photographer? A little bit of both. I fought it as long as I could fight it.
Did you?
Yeah. The craft part of it, which is craft, coming up with an idea, executing it. Before we used to use film and Polaroid and processing and prints and things. It was more of a process. My approach in digital is the same approach I used to take in film, and with the goal of not retouching a lot of things and trying to capture things as they are and enhance them in Photoshop when I need to do that. But I still miss the innocence of capturing things as they are and not making them phony.
Sure.
So
do you still take photos with an actual camera with film? You haven't touched one in a while?
I haven't shot a roll or sheet of film in about 12 years.
Oh, wow.
So
is film hard to get now? Can you still get it pretty easily?
It's on the black market, Melissa. You can
yeah. There's a guy with a trench coat out there. I got
film,
all kinds of film.
You buy it from a guy named Pinkman.
Right.
You can get film, and the trickier thing is to actually have the film processed. Color processing and black and white are totally different processes, and there's only maybe 2 or 3 places in the entire valley here that process film. So
wow.
It's difficult. It's a nightmare.
Let's talk a little bit about what exactly you do. I mean, you've been shooting portraits and people for years, and people can find you at noblestock.com, but also you're part of BaxterNoble.com. Can you explain what that mashup is?
I am a believer as we move forward, as the technology evolves, not just photographic, but the internet, the ease of getting pictures from point A to point B. Typically, these things there's a freeness of transferring pictures now, so it's led to kind of the demise a little bit of the standards of making a really good living doing this. So I've always tried to adapt through consortiums. I partner with people on things. When I take on a project, I never want to get involved in anything that I can't produce. So if I'm not comfortable producing something, I like to bring somebody in that can help me do that.
Compliments you.
Yeah, it compliments me, and we become a 2-headed photographer rather than a 1-headed photographer. So it's
so now you're a wolf pack.
A wolf pack. The thing that I bring to the table, I would like to think, the ability to pull somebody's soul out, and the real people photography is kind of what I do.
I've seen you. Dozens of photo shoots with you, and something that Jeff does that I think is that at first I thought was just cool and funny, but the more I thought about it is really brilliant about the way that you shoot. is Jeff has got a ton of jokes, and about half of them are good jokes. But he has a lot of jokes, a lot of little puns.
But the bad
and
ones are better.
and so when when Jeff is interacting with the subjects, you're doing that more to like get them to relax and not be thinking so much about that they're in front of a camera, right?
Well, there's a strategy. Like you made a comment 5 minutes ago. The relationship business, the public relations business is a relationship business, as is commercial photography. I mean, I kind of break photography into 3 categories: retail portraiture, editorial, which is more magazine and newspaper, and then commercial. And there's crossover and cross-pollination. But typically a photographer will go one of those 3 directions. And the work that we do is more business-to-business related. And in the process of humanizing somebody, I say whatever comes to mind.
Right.
Typically, bodily functions are really good comments, and you're trying to distract them from the point that their soul's being stolen from them. That's literally what a photo is. It's a fraction of a moment captured in time and frozen, and that's the magic part of it for me is encapsulating a moment and crafting it in such a way that it can be used logically to, in the commercial sense, promote or sell a product or service, and everybody wins.
Sure.
So,
and as you can hear, I mean, Jeff is very serious about it. I mean, I say he jokes around and everything, but go on his website, go on noblestock.com, go on baxternoble.com, and check out their work, because I mean, they're just beautiful. I mean, they're great, and he gets some amazing things out of the people that he takes photos of. But the way that he goes about it, he just disarms them, and they just feel very comfortable. I've been witness to people coming in that were very nervous. I mean, years ago, we were doing a photo shoot. It was a little bit more on the charity angle. We had some kids coming in from Valley Big Brothers Big Sisters, and some of the bigs and the littles, they were nervous. And within 15 minutes, Jeff had them all comfortable, laughed, just got some beautiful shots.
We did something. I don't recall who it was for, but it was similar to what you're describing, and it was a situation where the people that we were photographing weren't comfortable, and they weren't the most attractive people.
Oh, come on, Jeff.
Yeah, well, and I overheard somebody as they were looking at the photos on my screen. He even makes the ugly people look good, which was
this is true.
Interesting.
This is true.
Yeah, there's a beauty to hideousness. That's not a word, but my goal is to bring one's soul out and not necessarily embrace. You can call them flaws or wrinkles or things that people are sensitive about.
Characteristics.
Yes, we've earned our wrinkles in our lives, and so there's a fine line between making somebody look like they're porcelain with eyes and then making them look like they actually are who they are,
a human being.
A human being. So most of the things that we do, there is what I kind of consider it a first impression type image that this company or this person or this institution will use. Most people will see this photo before they actually meet the people that we're helping promote. And so the responsibility I have is to make them look good, but make them look like they actually look. Because if somebody doesn't look that way and they meet somebody after they have had their photo taken, there's some fraud there that they have to deal with it, not me.
Sure.
But I don't really. There's certain things that I don't particularly like. My nose is very red, but and I don't drink.
Who takes your picture?
Nobody takes my picture. I actually do self portraits periodically, so I have fun doing that kind of thing. But I'm as uncomfortable.
I think they're called
as anybody.
selfies now.
I hate that term. It's an insult.
We've established you're kind of a lone wolf. I know you have folks that you work with and that help you out. But if you could give anybody that's considering starting their own business, what would be one piece of advice you would give them? Going back and thinking about when you first started, or maybe some lessons you've learned along the way. What is a little nugget you could share with our listeners to take into consideration?
Numero uno, the number one thing is to ultimately come up with a business and marketing plan. You have to. It all begins with being a craftsman, and there's an old saying: a craftsman can never blame his tools. If he makes a mistake, you can't blame your tools on that. So it all begins with being a good craftsman, but then you have to logically take that, acknowledge to yourself and to the world what you're good at, and then market the crap out of it so that you can. The dream is to fill your days with solving visual problems in a way that you love to do it.
Right.
And, so that's at times I'm spoiled rotten because I get to do that.
Yeah.
So marketing, but objectivity, and the photographers are notoriously the worst at editing and putting forth their best work to the world. So share your work with all kinds of creative people and expect them to, if it's a turd, take the turd out. Because people are going, if you got a body of work of 15 pieces, most people are going to gravitate to the worst one. So you always want to get that worst piece out of the body of work that you are sharing with the world.
So market the crap out of it and remove the turd.
Words to live by.
There we go again with bodily functions, turds, etc.
Jeff's book is coming out in 2015.
Yes.
Take out the turd.
Yes.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much. People can find
me.
you again at noblestock.com and baxternoble.com.
Yes, sir.
Believe me, folks, if you need a photographer for your business, call Jeff. He is the best. He's a pleasure to work with, but the end result is great. So with that, Melissa, I will see you next time.
I'll see you this afternoon.
Oh, will you? Okay. All right. I was just going to close my eyes, and I was kind of like half hoping you'd be gone.
Poof, I'm gone.
We'll see you next week on Bad Business. Find us at syndicatepr.com or on Facebook at Syndicate Public Relations. Have a good night.
You've been listening to Bad Business with Bryan Laurel and Melissa Epstein. Bad Business is a production of the Double Wide Network and Syndicate Public Relations. For more info, visit us at syndicatepr.com. We hope to see you back here next week. Bye-bye.